Make stress balls. These are really cute and fun and easy to make. They're great for Father's Day, great as teachers' gifts, great just for fun, especially if you're feeling a bit stressed. You will need an empty water bottle, a balloon, this is optional, a bit of wool for the hair if you want it, a marker pen, make sure it does mark on balloons, and some flour. So I have lots of flour here. This works really well with sand as well. Now the first thing I've done is I've already got some flour all over it, as you can see. I've made a little funnel. I've just rolled up a piece of paper, sellotaped it and cut it. Now make this in the kitchen please, because it is messy. Well, it can be messy. It's not supposed to be messy, but it can be. First thing you want to do is fill your bottle with flour. So we're doing this, and you fill it up, and you fill it up. Here we go. It's getting there. Now, if you find your funnel gets really full, oops, or you make a big mess like that, you can use a little, like a chopstick to push it through. So I'm going to make, it's kind of like a guesswork really how much flour you put in, but I put in what looks like, I'll show you, that much flour. It looks like a little bit like what the balloon would be full. So, it's experimenting work. So I'm going to try and get this off the surface. Do this in the kitchen, not your bedroom, for that reason. And push it in. If you need to, you can get a little stick to poke it, it does help. And then when you've got enough flour in there, as you want, I'm going to do a tiny, tiny bit more, you can get your balloon ready. Here we go. So, I think that's enough. So I'm going to wipe my surface, just so it isn't distracting. And then we're going to get the balloon. So, surface is a little bit wiped. Should have dried it really. Let's dry it like so. Here we go. Get your balloons so you can see them. Now get the balloon any colour. Now you have to blow it up a little bit, so watch this. Okay, so blown up a little bit. This is the trickiest bit, so you might want to get somebody to help you. I'm going to now pop this balloon whilst it's blown up over the end of the bottle, okay? It is the hardest bit to make sure it goes all the way around so it's sealed, okay? So now you gently pour the flour in. It helps a little bit if you give the bottle a bit of a squeeze. Here we go. In fact, you can see it going in. And if you give it the odd squeeze, it helps it go in faster. These are so fun and so nice to make. I love if you have lots of different colours. Okay, so all in the balloon. Give the balloon a good tap. Now hold it as you pull it off. You don't want it flying off. So you hold it, or you're holding it, and then you very gently let the air out. Now be careful because a little bit of flour might escape as well. So we're just going to do that very slowly until you get to where the actual flour is. You can see it coming. Now the first time I made this, I actually had the whole flour go like that. It all came out the top. It was a bit messy. So what you want to do is as you get to the end, have a good look, give it a good tap to make sure all the air is coming out, and then you can see the flour starting to come out as well because the balloon wants to push it. So now you hold it really tight, push the flour back down, and you give it a knot. So you want to get all the air out though if you can, yeah? And then you've got your basic squishy shape of that. Isn't that brilliant? So fun. Now I'm going to give mine a little wipe because then I can draw on it. I'm going to draw it on it last actually. But now I want to put some hair on. Now, you don't need to put hair on, but I do think it's fun. So we've just got a little bit of wool with a matching colour, but again, you can use any colour, it doesn't have to match. I'm wrapping some around my fingers like so. Not too much. So I've got wrapped around my fingers. I'm going to cut a bit. And cut another piece off. Tie a knot. As tight as possible. Tie a knot. Like so. Now you can open up your little bits. You can make them longer if you want, shorter. You can plait them, and then I take my long piece and I just tie it around the bottom of the knot here. So here we go. Give it a good knot underneath. And another tie. Actually, it's quite good because it kind of secures your balloon a bit more. So that's got your basic hair, and now you can draw a face. So you can either draw some faces like I've done, just copy those, or you can make up your own, or you can go online and look at some other faces you might like. I'm just going to draw 2 circles. One here, 2, and the other eye there. And this one I'm going to give it a wiggly face, and I might give them little eyebrows. And there you have your stress ball finished. I'm going to let this dry because the black can smudge, so don't go start squishing it straight away. Let it dry a little bit. But once it's dry, you're ready to let out your stress. Now, be sure to subscribe to my channel. So to make our emoji squishy, we need some yellow paper, some contrasting paper, some pens, and a bowl for measuring. I'm going to make it quite big because I think they squish up better when they're bigger. If you don't have yellow paper, that's totally fine. Just use white paper and colour it in first. Of course, that will take a little bit longer. I'm going to cut out 2 circles of yellow. All the dimensions. I think that's quite good. I mean, the eye could be a bit bigger, but I think it's okay. And glue down. There we go. Basic emoji face done. Right, now I have to turn it into a squishy. So you will need sellotape, as you're probably aware, those of you that have made the paper squishies before. So I'm just going to take normal tape and start taping everything together. So basically, take a piece, put it over the bottom, get it as straight as possible, and tuck it around the end. Now the back of your squishy won't never be as neat as the front of your squishy, so this is going to have some extra folds and stuff on it, but don't worry about that. stuff. Now, what are we going to stuff it with? I've done some research into this and looked at many of the paper squishies out there, and it looks like the best thing is to have toy stuffing, or in our case, we've actually used an old pillowcase. Well, not pillowcase, an old pillow. You can use plastic bags, or the absolute best is memory foam, but who's got memory foam? I certainly don't. So I think using toy stuffing if you've got some, and if you don't, just use plastic bags, cut up into small pieces, or use, you can also use cotton wool. But I think if you've got an old pillow at home that your parents don't need anymore, this is a really good way of recycling that old pillow. You can do something fun to play with. Now, you might find some little gaps as you stuff it. If you do, just make sure you put some more tape over it. I think this is okay. Might be a little gap there. And then have a see whether it's nice consistency. I think quite full is good. You can experiment with the different amounts of stuffing. I think you're putting quite a lot in. It all surprises me how much fits in. So if you're making this with paper bags, you know, you might have to have a couple of extra bags lying around ready to stuff. And now, I'm just going to shut it. Oh, where's the sticky tape on here? Here we go. Look at that. It's nice and stuck. And then, let's see. The moment of truth. We've got two squishies when I made it before. And let's see. Oh, I think I've got a little gap. Let's put a bit more tape at the bottom. That's okay. It's part of the process. If this happens to you, don't worry. The problem about big holes is that it won't let your squishy basically go back into shape if it's too big. So let's make sure that's nice and taped shut. And little hole's good because you need to let some of the air out when you're squishing it, don't you? Okay, let's try that again. And then let's see. Wow, look at that. That is definitely slow rising. Now, so as before, we will need some cardboard, some coins, a toothpick, and then some cutting and gluing devices of different sorts. Now, very quickly before I get started, please listen. I think this will be really useful. I've had a couple of questions. I've had questions about, does it need coins? Now, if you're going to do this as a science fair project or a STEAM experiment, here's something to think about when you're experimenting. One is, different types of glue are stronger and weaker, so you can explore which glue works better or not. That's the first thing. The second thing you can explore is whether you need coins or not. Does it spin as well with or without coins? I can give you the answer. The more coins or the more weight you have, the faster it will spin because you're going to create centrifugal forces that help turn it. So the coins are about the weight that help it spin. And then the third thing that's sort of quite pertinent is the actual, if you want, bearing. So why does this one not spin as fast or as long as the shop bought ones? And the answer basically is friction, because there's more friction with these ones because the ball bearings are designed to have very, very low friction. And when you're creating your own, these kind of ones, you can even hear it, listen. You can hear it scuffing the cardboard. So the friction on this is higher. So for example, on this one, the friction is even higher. And that's basically because when I was making my holes and pushing through the cardboard, I created a little lip, and the lip is what's catching on the circular sort of discs on the outside. So those are things we need to think about. And if you do want to use this as an experiment and you want to have a go and create different ones, this is a really great little sort of science fair project where you can look at centrifugal forces, where you can look at friction, and you can also look at properties of materials and how strong glue is. So now it's time to make our fidget spinner. Now the tri-fidget spinners, these two are exactly the same. They do spin the same amount, but I decided to do two different patterns, which you can now, there's links below to how to get them. You can now get a simple, very simple downloadable of the 3 different fidget spinners that we've made here on the channel. Today I thought I'd make it slightly arty as well, so we look at a bit of science, we're now going to look at a bit of art. So I'm going to create a white one. This is a white piece of cardboard that I've recycled, and I think it just fits my fidget spinner. And I'm going to draw around the outside and cut it out. So this cardboard is quite stiff, so I literally only need one. With all of these, I've used 2, so they're kind of the cereal packet cardboard. It's quite bendy, and I've used 2, and I've stuck them together using a glue stick, because a glue stick's really good for this kind of paper, and it makes it stick quite well. But like I said, this is quite stiff, so 1 is enough. I'm going to use this later for my little holder. So the next thing we want to do is to decorate our fidget spinner. In fact, I'm thinking about which side to decorate. I think I'm going to decorate the bottom, and then we're going to glue the coins on the top. There we go. So that's how quick it was to decorate our fidget spinner. Turn it around, and we're going to glue on our 3 pennies. Now, like I've said before, the stronger the glue, the better. Some of you have asked about hot glue. I personally don't think hot glue sticks as well. Hot glue can, I just think it peels off. But it's up to you. If you've got a hot glue gun, try it out. And see, I think if you do use a hot glue gun, you basically just need to put lots and lots and lots of it all around it and kind of encase it a little bit. I've also had a suggestion, which I thought was a great idea, of you could use almost like paper mache over the top with a bit of tissue paper. That's a really good idea. That would definitely make sure it doesn't come loose. Yeah, so there's lots of things you can experiment. But I think the strong glue, this one's not bad, although sometimes it does come off and then you have to glue it back on again. I've also got this glue, which is a bit like E3000, and with this glue, actually they stay on really, really well. So it's really up to you to come up with a glue that works for you. Now I'm going to let that dry, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do the mechanism. But I'm just going to quickly cut out 2 circles for the holding mechanism, and then once it's all dry, we'll obviously come back. Okay, our coins are pretty dry, not fully dry, you can still see it's a bit wet, but it's enough that we can handle it. Now, one thing I wanted to say is, whilst it dries, sometimes my coin starts sliding off for whatever reason. So what you need to do is you need to push it back up. Now, the next thing you want to do is you take your template, you fold it, and that gives you a point in the middle. You can see I've already created a hole there. And that helps you pinpoint the centre of your spinning toy. So I take my needle, I push it through just to mark it. There we go. I've got a little hole. This also applies to this template, of course. You fold it and you fold it, and also to the template for these ones, okay? So it's really important to get it into the center. And again, if you're doing this as a science experiment or science fair project, this is something we can discuss about the forces and also about it spinning neatly, and that is that if this hole isn't in the middle, then your spinning toy will not spin properly. And I'm trying to make the hole as big as possible so that when my toothpick goes in, it's nice and loose and it's got a nice sort of axes to go around. Now I want to make 2 more points about this hole. So this is nice and loose, great. Somebody suggested putting in a little, you know, from a plastic, from a pen, or like a little straw or something, put it in there to kind of reduce the friction because the cardboard can create the friction. That's a good idea, so you could experiment with a little straw, you know, maybe a straw that you get out of like those small juice cartons. And the other thing I wanted to say is, do you see here, when you look at it sideways, there's a bit sticking up here? Now that bit sticking up could cause friction against our little discs. So that's something you can consider. Either you try and flatten it back down, but you need to have it neat, or you try and cut it off, or later when you put the discs on, you make sure that they're far away enough that they don't rub. So that's where the friction comes into it, and that's something that will slow your spinner down. So that's a lot of talk, I know, but I do think it's worth it. Now the next thing you need to do is you need to find the centre of your discs. Now you do need the discs. I've tried doing it without the discs, just a toothpick, and I just found just holding the toothpick creates a wobble, whilst by having the discs, they kind of help smoothen it a little bit, kind of puts it back into place when it kind of wobbles a bit all over the place. Now with the hole for the holder, you don't want this too big because you want it to be nice and stiff on your toothpick. And you see that feels quite stiff, doesn't it? So you push it right to the end, then you push it onto the other one. Make sure there's a hole. Don't bend it too much because you also want it to look nice. Here we go. Push it through. That's a bit of sticky glue, but there's enough for me to get going. Push this on this end. Now, people ask again about hot glue guns. I think the hot glue gun is not strong enough for the coins. The hot glue gun probably is okay for this holding mechanism. Still not totally strong. So, I mean, I prefer using the glue I've been using. But, you know, if you want to use a hot glue gun for this bit because you may be doing this as a library project, that's fair enough. So I'm going to get my glue. Here you go. I think I used the other glue last time actually, but I do like this one because it's really nice and strong. The strong PVA glue is great. I'm going to pop it on top. Pop some around here. Do you mind, you can probably get away with no glue, or maybe some tape even. So do experiment. And then I place it carefully onto a tin like this one. And the glue, basically that means the my spinning mechanism can dry, but also the coins can finish off drying as well. And then that's basically it, well, almost it. We'll have to do a bit of trimming at the end, but we're going to let that dry now. That'll probably take an hour to fully dry, and then we'll finish off the very, very last bit, and then we're done. Isn't it great? I'm so excited. We have one very last thing to do, which is, now it's almost, it's a bit wet there, but it's pretty much dry, is to just nip off a little bit of your toothpick. I've been a bit impatient and didn't wait for that to dry. You can use scissors as well, to be honest, we can get Adult to help you. I just find it easier with this. And then here comes a moment of truth. While this is still drying, patient me, look at that. Isn't that lovely? These perler beads and loom bands, friendship bracelets. I think it's a really sweet way of combining kind of 2 traditional kids crafts and making something new. And as a summer approaches, I think friendship bands are really, really lovely to do. So I'm going to show you how to make these really easy. We're going to use finger looming. Some people don't like finger looming, they say it hurts their fingers. So please, if you don't like finger looming, just use 2 pencils. They work really well too, or a pair of chopsticks. Now you can, I'm prepping this to begin with, but you can do the loom bit I'm just doing right now as you go along. But obviously it just takes a little bit longer if you do it that way. Well, actually, maybe it doesn't take longer, but once your fingers are busy with stuck with loom bands, then sometimes it's easier if you've put these ready first. So you get your beads ready, you choose on your colour scheme. I'm going for rainbow and black. I think my son would quite like that one. He's been making tons of these. It's really interesting how when you try something slightly different, suddenly something that's got a little bit boring becomes interesting again. And I think these would be really nice for both my kids to make for their friends before the summer holidays. Or to make them during the summer holidays and then give it to their friends when they see them when they come back. So you normally need about, I'd say, 8 to 10 pony beads to make a grown-up band. But here's my daughter's, and to be honest, because they're loom bands, they just stretch, so it's fine. Also, if you don't have enough pony beads of the colour that you like, you can always finish your loom band by just adding a few plain ones at the end without the pony beads. I don't think you have to have the pony beads all the way around. We also make our loom bands without those plastic clasps. We just knot them. You can see I've knotted it here. But of course the clasps are good and it means they last a bit longer. So I've got my loom band ready. You start off with your 2 fingers or your pencils. You give it a twist like with all the finger looming. So you've got that. You can see the twist there. And then you start. So I'm going to do a couple of black ones first just to keep it plain. And then I'm going to move on. So plain one over the top, not twisted. Like that, not twisted. Move the bottom one over. Most of you probably know how to do this already. So but sometimes we've got people who are completely new. So over. There we go. So that's just started it off. Now I might do one more actually. There we go. Brilliant. There we go. Now we're going to start using our pony beads. So carefully so they don't fall out. And try not to twist the loom band either because it just gets a bit, you know, it's not twisted inside. I put over like that. And give it a little tug. Now use a plain one with no bead. And just push it over like that. Now we've got one with a bead again. Again, my loom band isn't twisted there. Move it over. Take that. Plain one. This is going to look really sweet. I do love rainbows. And you keep going, and then at the end I'll show you how we finish off without using the clasps. And this pattern will look nice with just white as well, don't you think? Well, there, that one in the sink. There we go. You see, you can actually add them whilst you're looming as well. It's not the end of the world. It just makes it a little bit quicker. I think I might finish this point actually, because I think that's probably quite long to go around my child's. Well, actually, you know what? Let's not finish. Let's just carry on. I like having a set of a whole rainbow set. Nothing like rainbows when you're doing rainbow looming, is there? Right, that's one. Okay, so we've got all ready. Now to finish it off, do a plain one, and do one more plain one just to keep it secure. Then normally you put a little plastic clip on, but we just fold it over. You see that? Fold it over, and then take the bottom one over and pull it tight, and then you've got a nice stringy. And then you just take it at this end, and you just tie a little knot in it, and that's it. So you don't need those clasps if you run out. Fear not, it's got a nice cute little loop. And there you have a rainbow pony bead loom band. Anyway, I do hope to see you here in Red Light again soon. Don't forget to subscribe, and yes, well, see you here again soon. Bye bye. Do take care, because it's so frustrating. Imagine you get it all correct and then you get one ear wrong. That would be so annoying. So once you've got the colouring done, or you've used the pre-coloured ones, you start cutting out. Now we'll go. So we have our cut out piece of paper. Now the next bit is super important. You want to fold across all the lines going this way and all the lines going this way and like that. Now if you fold them in the right order and do it really neatly, honestly this is so much easier. If you don't, it can get quite hard. So the first lines I'm going to do are the ones going across, and for that I'm going to turn mine round and then I'm going to fold up and use the line as a guide, like so, and make it nice and neat. These have to be super neat. And fold over again, use the line that's there as a guide, do it as neat as you possibly can. I'll make all the difference. So that's the first two. And turn it round, fold this up, and then fold this up. So that's my first set of lines complete. Okay, now I'm going to swivel it around and go in the other direction, so the line's going that way. Okay, so that's the first set of lines, and these ones you fold it like that, yeah? So now I'm going to fold across, but fold it in, so the pattern shows inside. And this time it's harder to spot the lines, especially if you're folding across them, so I find it easier to try and line up these diagonals and create a super neat point at the top and a straight line at the bottom. So you want to hit the pointy bits all along. Again, the neater you can do it, the better. Okay, so I've done the first two, and I'm going to do the other side. If you line up all the points and all the dips, there we go, nice and tight. Now, if you've done all your folding correct, you can then, if you take your glue bit and just point it in, it should all start folding up just the way you want it. So test that it's all folding up, so it looks a bit like a snake. And if it's doing that, great, you can start gluing. If not, just re-score your lines. So mine does fold up, that's great. So now I'm going to put lots of glue on the glue bit. Start off with these three, don't do those yet. Make sure you get it right to the edge and right into that little corner. Like so. There we go. And then you can tuck these on top, and again try and line everything up as much as possible. You may want an adult to help you at this point because it is a little bit fiddly. It's totally doable, but it is fiddly. If you've done your folds neatly, it'll be even easier. Again, so try not to get them overlapping. You want it all nicely aligned, and you can give it a little squeeze to help hold them in place. Try not to get fingers on your glue on your fingers actually, because that does make it a bit harder. So tuck it in. Now if you can bear it, wait a minute for this to set before gluing the edge. So if you can wait a minute, it does help. And then you fold these out. Like so. Add a bit of glue. The longer you let things dry, the easier it is to assemble, but obviously I'm showing you on the video. Yeah, okay. Then you squeeze this a bit, like so. Tuck these in, and then you gently press down on the middle. It is a bit fiddly, and it is a little bit hard. So, now, I will let this dry at least 1 minute, because otherwise it will fall apart, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how it moves, okay?